3, 2, 1.
The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Welcome to the Pulpery Politicscast with Brock and Ben. This podcast is where we discuss the political headlines that intrigue us and all those little jerks that enrage us.
Steve, so David Duke, a Jace.
Yeah, I had not heard that until John Oliver pointed that out.
We had talked about
David Duke without the baggage.
A Jace.
Which is like, David Duke's got a lot of baggage.
Again, I know people whose mothers or fathers may or may not have been on David Duke's.
I was gonna say, were you here during the last Edwin Edwards run?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Vote for the crook, not the
fucking Klansman.
Yeah.
And again,
by the way, too,
my brother dated.
Anyone who didn't grow up in Louisiana, look up Edwin Edwards. That man is a political genius.
I love Louisiana politics.
Because of Edwin Edwards.
Well, we can go back to eons.
Sure, that too, but yeah.
Yeah, but Edwin Edwards fucking...
A modern political... Rest in power, my friend. After you served your time.
Rest in power. I would pour a drink out, but I'm not going to.
No.
All right, so now, I can't believe that it is literally Louisiana. South Louisiana. My district, racist Nazi cocksucker is going to be the head of the House. Excuse me, the Speaker. Third in line to the presidency, right?
Yeah.
And yet...
I mean, we're technically second in line. Vice President, Speaker.
Vice President is one. Speaker's two.
Yeah.
Okay. I meant third human, but yes.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. And here's the thing. Versus the other sexual assault, not seeing John Cena sexual assault, Scalise is probably the better of the two.
Scalise,
and I've never voted for this motherfucker.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you would have, but well, and I mean he's a classic example of a specialty district designed for him.
You think?
Or
and
at
I
least,
live in New Orleans proper.
Right, like that's what I find. I mean, granted, you're like what, like quarter of a mile from the border. I have a bad shoulder. Yeah.
And I could throw...
You can pee on Metairie, yeah.
I could throw a baseball to Metairie.
But that's why...
Go ahead, say it, because it is...
Well, no, it's like before we had this venue to talk about it, and we were just doing this all off the cuff, when they were having the first speaker debacle...
Yep. Debacle, that's a fantastic word.
I kept saying, like... The shadow warrior here is Steve Scalise.
You did.
And...
The whole time.
And last week, when we were talking about it, you're like, whose name's going to be? Well, like, Steve Scalise is going to be first. He is the Machiavellian
He's been in there since 2007?
Right. And he's worked his way up from a junior representative.
No, he's second in command.
Well, so to whip... to the majority leader.
Right.
Which just recently happened. But he was the whip for a long time. Which is...
What seems like an eternity.
Which is... A lot of people negate... that position.
Yeah, no.
But it's...
Within the past several years,
the consensus builder.
He's the one...
Within any party.
He's the hustler...
Yeah.
Who goes out and, in this instant, gathers up those few remaining 12 or so people who are either on the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
That's his job.
He knows negotiation.
And he's been doing it he was elected in 2007,
Or no, yeah, or he would have been elected in 06, started in 07, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but for the past 8 years?
Well, I mean, he's been where he was whip under, I think he started as whip under Paul Ryan.
Oh God. Okay, so it's longer than what I thought.
He might have even been promoted. No, he went under Boehner, but
yeah, it couldn't have been that far back.
So, but and he stayed whip for the Republicans under even when Pelosi was in charge.
Correct.
Right?
All the way through.
You're talking about like Paul Ryan recognized like this guy knows how to get other people to agree with the party line.
And Turtle.
And so now this man's going to be setting the party line.
Turtle.
Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's. He was whip under him, right?
No.
Mitch McConnell?
No. Well, no.
Oh, no. Sorry.
There's a House whip and a Senate whip.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
House whip.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a fuck.
No. I mean, that's why we're doing this.
Oh, which you need to... sorry, I'm going to call him out on his fixing his thing in a minute.
Well, yeah. So, again, I didn't...
But... sorry.
I fucking teach civics. And
I'm just
for all the years that I've been teaching civics, I've never read, and this is, and even too, like, in all the years, I mean, I've known speakers of the houses dating back to Tip O'Neill because my mother made me recognize that shit. Well, and I never realized that there was a pro tem in the House.
I only knew that because I read it.
Well, and again, my only excuse is it was never fucking needed until now.
Ever. And we hammered that home last time.
Yeah.
Like, never, ever.
But I sat there and I told you, no, there's no pro tem in the House. And I was wrong about that. But
you know what?
My ignorance was because it's never happened in history other than when somebody's sick.
I'm going to write this down because
that doesn't make
time,
sense.
The only time that I am right. We're going to do
You're
October
right, yeah.
11th, 10,
You got a government thing right.
Correct. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying that so when my memoir comes out,
memoir.
All right. So, anyways, back to Steve Scalise.
Yeah, definitely the lesser of two evils in this.
And I hate
battle.
the fact that going all the way back to 2016, that politics has turned into, well, fuck, I don't know who to. Oh, the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
And 7 times out of 10, all the way down, it is the less, unless you're in Franklin, Tennessee, because then it's Nazis. It has become the lesser of two evils, which is not how anyone expected this democracy to go. Lesser of two evils? Nobody has a platform anymore.
Well, I mean...
And I know we're just talking about Speaker of the House, but I just broadly...
Well, I mean, to be... Let's say, or me to be a downing innocent in this one.
No.
Is that, I mean, they still have platforms. They still have issues, but the idea of, I think what's most troubling is, and what the speakership shows, is how entrenched even the moderates are in their camps. And that, like, what we were talking about last week, which is as apparently, I'm not going to say he is brilliant, but he's showing brilliance in Hakeem Jeffries, is that I don't think, not because of who he is and his abilities, but just even moderate Republicans would never go, all right, we'll try the other guy, versus the lesser of two evils in our party.
And here's the thing. God damn you. Fuck you, Houston. That's the thing. The thought of Jeffries getting even
A sniff.
Right, of votes would be
a whiff of the locker room.
Fucking bonkers in any other time. And right now, people are actually going, me included, that, man, you need a handful, half a dozen, maybe?
Well, and that's why I think, like...
when the other party controls the fucking House. Right?
Well, no, I mean, Republicans control the House.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but there could be...
Oh, yeah, I mean,
we're in a situation with a couple of them going, all right, we're good here.
Or to the effect of what you see happening, not just in the United States, but around the world.
We'll get to that.
And saying that everything that people are now in the United States crying for internationally requires money. The House controls the money. The House can't do anything,
which means
until they get the speakership resolved, and then you're going
because bow tie man.
And within, well, I mean, yeah, he can run procedural stuff, but he can't. Like he can kick Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer out of their offices.
I was gonna write that down, but it was so no, it was hilarious. It is so fucking petty.
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond the pale at this point.
Yeah, but, exactly. It's not even mentioning.
And you're going like, look, like there are two huge humanitarian crises, or immediate ones that are in the news. Let alone the thousands of other ones. Like we haven't scratched the surface of Sudan and everything else in different African continental countries.
Not to mention what is really going on behind the scenes on. Never mind, we'll get to it. But yes,
yeah, and so that's why
everything's at a screeching halt.
Right,
That's it. Full stop.
The president can't do anything about it. The Senate can't do anything about it.
Nope.
Thankfully, the Supreme Court can't do anything about it. But
thank Christ.
But you're going like, and then you have, and this is my thing is, this should be an example, not just to everyone in the United States, but particularly to the Republican Party, is that your inner working partisan politics is shutting everything down.
Right. If you strip away everything else,
and how does this make us
Democrat, Independent, that there are, I don't know, a handful, the same handful that are just not. We're willing to halt the government unless Tommy Tuberville falls downstairs.
Which I find weird about, like, Matt Gaetz, is that Matt Gaetz, and I'm sorry, I'm making a generalization here, but Matt Gaetz is a Florida rep.
Facts.
Florida is known for having a large number of retirees who are of a particular faith.
And, right, correct. Yep.
Who are supportive of a particular country that is now involved in a large-scale thing, which we're going to get to after the break, but...
And I was just there, and I can confirm all of this.
So why are you
just
fucking
in Florida,
with your...
not over there.
Why are you fucking with your constituents? Now, granted...
Which I find fascinating
This didn't happen at the time that he called the... You know, he threw in the whatever, the cog into the wheel, but... yeah, I mean, he's a raging piece of shit, and I don't know... I get, like... But...
Well,
wait, hold on. It's like
that's the problem.
Larger scale here is that, and I think this would be a more valid argument versus a third party is that Democrats and Republicans need to convey to the national parties, we have to have, like, particularly on smaller scale stuff, you need to allocate money to at least a viable alternative.
And there's not one.
So, like, in Matt Gaetz' district, you just don't go, like, oh, we're riding with this guy until we die. Like,
no.
If there's somebody who has a little bit of better record and maybe is not, you know, a CD pass, give them 25. We want to take this time to thank you for supporting the Pulpery Podcast. We are available on all podcast platforms, so please follow us and turn on the downloads. You can always delete them later. If audio is not your thing, we are on YouTube. Check out our page and hit the subscribe button, like our episodes, and share with all your friends. Follow us on all the socials for our latest content and additional takes on the latest stories and news. If you need a change for your taste buds, go to thegdsauce.com and change the way you think about the way you eat. From their signature goddamn sauce to their ghost pepper sauce, they have everything you need to rethink condiments. Help support an independent business by getting rid of your same old condiments and boss up with the goddamn sauces.
And we're starting.
Yeah.
Why?
So...
Why? We're talking Israel, and I just want to know why. I know why. I know that there's a division in... I don't know how to tap dance around this. So, you have...
Wait. So, like,
Please,
let me give you the short synopsis on it.
I was going to be David Duke of Jace, apparently.
Pre-World War I, it was the Ottoman Empire.
Of course. I knew that.
So you had one giant conglomerate thing
the Roman
working
Empire,
over,
but
and
after World
and not that it was good, but so after World War I,
not that it was good.
When the Western European powers have control over the Middle East, this is where all the problems start. So, but they carve it up amongst what they think are ethnic lines. So,
why does it always
where Israel is, where Jerusalem and all that is, becomes, it's under the ethnic rule of Palestine, which are Islamic, people of the Islamic faith who have been in that area for hundreds of years.
If not thousands?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Then you go to, along with the Judean people as well.
I'm talking, again, my brain doesn't work.
Right.
Okay.
Timelines.
Thank you.
So then we get to...
I have a hard time keeping up with Loki.
World War II. And
yep.
Before World War II, there was a large, beginning late or mid-20s through the 30s, a Zionist movement of that the Jewish people should be able to have their own country, let alone get back to their homeland, because they were much like Africans spread out because of slavery, wars, things like that. So there was a diaspora.
Okay, so several times people are just trying to get back to where they belong,
right,
or where they think that their home. We'll call it home. E.T.
Sure. Post World War II, because of events like the Holocaust, Western Europe, because they didn't address it before, has guilt and remorse. And among several different ideas, they settle on, we are going to establish the nation, or we're going to allow the establishment of the nation of Israel.
And who did this?
Well, it was a combination of various different things, but like the people who had the power to do it were the United States, and the Western European powers, France.
UN these
Great
days?
Britain. Yeah, essentially.
Okay. All right.
And
again, you got to talk to me like
because they already had control of the area, even though they carved it up into ethnic regions.
Which
even places like
that
Iran
probably started the issue, right?
Iran was under puppet leaders like the Shah, who reported either to Great Britain or to the United States.
Well, let's get it. Get it twisted. That
just
Britain and
just as an example. So they decide, this is what would be best, and like,
sorry, I don't
long term or short or any term, it's where their people originated from. So
it made sense.
But so once they create the nation, it then displaces all the Palestinians.
Correct, and they flee south. Sorry, I wanted a map.
Well, but
you're going to tell me.
What you end up with is what was something in the burgeoning, what we would call the New World Order, they believe that establishing an Israeli state...
Ministry sang a song about the New World Order.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
As well as Hulk Hogan had a faction.
Whole team, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Carry on. I have to do my shtick.
Post-World War II, the idea was they would go back and it would be a peaceful coexistence. Because it's still like Israel is a sanctioned nation by the UN, and therefore everybody else should follow it because it's backed by United States nuclear weapons. What starts throwing that off is when Russia or the Soviet Union does.
Which was my question. God damn it!
And blah,
I'm sorry,
blah, blah.
I'm standing up.
Well, again, very long story,
But
the short of it is that whether by purpose, and again, I don't think it was the intention of the Israeli state to displace these people.
This is the question I have. This is my main
It
question.
was it's one again why the Middle East and what do you say Far East Islamic world is like death to the West and stuff. It's because of stuff like this. So because we went in and we're like no, this isn't yours, it's ours. This is
what it is, right?
And then we're going to hand it off to our friends, and then they're going to then say this is ours, it's not yours, and
which seems a little fucked to me.
Which is to point out
the
here,
layperson.
And I don't want to go Ilyan Omar on this and say that what has happened in this past week is justified, and this is what unfortunately took 3 or 4 days for news organizations to point out. Hamas is not Palestine. Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Correct.
The Palestinian people, majority of them, that are trying to coexist within the Israeli state, would never have wanted this to happen.
Thank you. And they are the
same
ones.
As Muslims living in the United States never wanted 9/11 to happen.
Which is okay. So Hamas, terrible.
Yeah.
I don't need to regurgitate all the fucking horrible shit. But Israel nuking.
Well, like
all of them seems a little. And
let's put it like this. So,
by no means.
Osama bin Laden said that essentially, if we push America to the point, they're going to invade and have their way with the Middle East. 9/11 happens by Osama bin right, and then we play entirely into his hands, which then creates generation upon generation of new.
Mission accomplished, by the way.
Yeah. Thank God,
Mr. Bush. I'm glad we accomplished that.
But this creates zealots.
Of course, because you've got
this,
one,
that, and the other. Yeah,
right.
Which it moves from Al Qaeda into ISIS, and now ISIS into Hamas or Hezbollah, or
That was the other one. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad I did not have to say that.
So like
Hezbollah,
Hamas is the localized contingent.
ISIS.
Yeah.
Al Qaeda. Did you say that? Is that?
Well, in other words, like Hezbollah is the larger organization. So like Hezbollah would be they're more just general militant Islamic.
Okay.
Whereas Hamas is we're Palestinians and we want to get rid of Jewish people.
Oh, so the Palestinians have. Okay.
And then, of course, behind the scenes, you have this whole money laundering scheme where Iran is giving money to Hezbollah. Hezbollah is giving money to Hamas, and
then you're about to get countries,
right?
Which,
of course, Russia is in support of Iran,
and then North Korea is going to piggyback off of Russia,
and then you got the countries in between that are eventually possibly going to have to pick sides.
Well, they're going to have to pick sides because they're sitting there like, I need help here,
right?
And I just, who's the good guy in this?
Sure, and but I think
that's stupid. Not good guy because it depends. Christopher Nolan states this very well that a good guy over here
is not a good
necessarily a good guy over here. So,
so again, this is not me justifying Hamas at all.
No, it's
but
go ahead.
I'm going to use the United States as an example again, which is
as you should.
The prior to 9/11, when apparently everybody was caught by surprise except for anybody that paid attention to current events in the Middle East, and that we just felt that we had our way there, that we could bomb whoever we
could do whatever we want.
And of course, what that creates is radical militants.
So
with
exactly. You're going to create any bully,
right?
Is going to create a faction of people who want to take down that bully.
It's Newtonian. Any action has an equal and opposite reaction. Now, again, that we are dealing with human beings, so reactions can carry over into extremes, like we're seeing with Hamas. But
it all boils down to the same thing,
right? And so this is
Hamas
what
are terrible.
They are. It's like there's no justification for what they're
absolutely
doing.
Not.
That they did like a Las Vegas style shooting on a concert, and then went on to do multiple
bombings, and
degrading of children. Yeah. But
almost like the people back in the day breaking into houses and murdering kids who were.
But when you hear a conservative hardliner like Netanyahu saying, "I'm setting up my war government," and his essentially his defense secretary saying, "We're now going to put Gaza under our foot."
Yeah. We're not doing anything else but dealing with this.
Right. Which, again, Hamas operates out of the Gaza Strip, which is contained within the nation of Israel. It's, if I remember correctly.
I was trying to pull up a map. And
it's south of Jerusalem, if I remember correctly.
It is. And it...
But
there's
that was a section given to Palestinians, and so
really?
Now
that little bitty strip right there.
Yeah. But so now what it is that what I fear is this is the excuse for the hard right Israeli government to go in and completely obliterate or drive out Palestinians with
prejudice,
also with moral authority. Now that's the problem with what Hamas did, is that you gave the high ground to the conservative Israeli government,
the hardcore rights a reason. And rights, I mean right, not left, right.
Same as like we always like discuss that in America, like if Al Gore had been president when 9/11 happened, what might have been the progression? Like again, he still would have retaliated. But it might have been a different retaliation. But you do that with a full conservative government in the United States, of course they're going to go, "Oh, we're going to take care of the problem as we see it here. Oh, and then by the way, we're going to fake this shit and go into another country."
Right. Well, that's what. Well, not to mention, and here's my biggest concern is we've mentioned the United States being sucked into it, but then we touched on Russia, we touched on North Korea. Like, this could turn bad quick.
Well, this could be the spark,
Right. That's right. Yeah. The straw that broke the camel's back. No pun intended.
Did?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, or we're back to World War I, where alliances lead to catastrophic effects.
The new Axis.
It has happened before. The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulpery is a privately produced podcast by Brock Ryder and Ben Grimmie, on social media and photography by Beck Ryder, original music by the Heisenberg Compensators.